So this is my fit for AL. I wanted my skirt to be asymmetric, and I wanted it to look like cargo pants. So this is like a fake pocket here, and this is also a fake button, and it's actually a body. What makes me unique? I mean, we're all one of one, so we're all unique. There's never going to be another one of me, and there's never going to be another one of anybody. And that's like the cool thing. I would say what my autograph is inspired. I try to make it as easy to read as possible because growing up I would collect autographs from tennis players, and I could never remember who.
She said no to $1.6 billion. Coco Gauff's shocking rejection that left a billionaire begging. Welcome back to Chatterbox, where we don't just report the news. We take you behind the velvet ropes of the most shocking, untold stories in the world of fame and fortune. And today we are talking about a moment that didn't just break the internet. It broke the very understanding of wealth in modern sports. We are talking about a number so big it sounds fake. We are talking about a rejection so cold, so dignified, and so absolute that it reportedly left one of the most powerful men on the planet on his knees. Imagine, for a second, a check. Not just any check. A check written for $1.6 billion. That is $1.6 billion. Now imagine looking at that check, looking at the private jet waiting on the tarmac, looking at the blueprints for a stadium named after you, and saying no. Just flat out no. Not maybe. Not let me think about it. Not counter with a higher number. Just no. This is the story of Coco Gauff, the 20-year-old American tennis sensation who just did the unthinkable. Rumors are swirling. Insiders are leaking details, and the tennis world is in absolute chaos. According to explosive reports coming out of the Middle East this morning, Coco Gauff has rejected a historic, record-shattering contract from Abu Dhabi billionaire Sheikh Mansour. We are talking about a deal that would have made her not just the richest female athlete in history, but one of the wealthiest humans on earth overnight. But it wasn't the money that stunned the Sheikh. It wasn't the rejection itself. It was the 20-second statement she delivered, a statement that silenced a room full of billionaires and left the Sheikh himself reportedly begging for her to reconsider. What did she say? Why did she turn down a fortune that could buy entire countries? And is it true that she walked away from a $150 million diamond prize just to prove a point? Buckle up, Chatterbox family, because we are diving deep into the most insane story of the year. This is the day Coco Gauff told the world that her soul is not for sale. To understand the magnitude of this rejection, we first have to understand the magnitude of the offer. This wasn't just a sponsorship deal. This wasn't a Nike contract or a Gatorade commercial. This was an attempt to buy a legacy. Sheikh Mansour, the Deputy Prime Minister of the UAE and the man who transformed Manchester City into a global football empire, has made no secret of his desire to make Abu Dhabi the new capital of the tennis world. He didn't just want a tournament. He wanted a face. He wanted the future of tennis. He wanted Coco Gauff. Sources close to the negotiations described the offer as astronomical and unprecedented. The package, reportedly presented to Gauff and her team during a secret meeting in a luxury suite in Abu Dhabi, included a $1 billion lifetime exclusivity contract. But that was just the base salary. On top of that, there was an additional $600 million per year for 5 years tied to appearance fees and promotional duties. Do the math. That is wealth that rivals the GDP of small nations. We are talking about the kind of money that makes other athletes' contracts look like lunch money. For context, the highest paid female athlete in the world right now makes around $90 million annually from all sources combined. This offer would have made Coco Gauff worth more than the top 10 female athletes combined, and then some. But the Sheikh didn't stop at cash. He knows that for an athlete like Coco Gauff, money is just numbers on a screen. He wanted to offer her immortality. The deal reportedly included the immediate construction of the Coco Arena, a state-of-the-art, 20,000-seat stadium in the heart of Abu Dhabi, designed specifically to her preferences, with a retractable roof shaped like a tennis racket. Can you imagine that? A building, a monument to your name, rising out of the desert sand before you've even turned 25. The renderings allegedly showed gleaming glass and steel, LED screens wrapping around the exterior displaying her greatest moments, luxury suites overlooking courts designed to her exact specifications, and a museum dedicated to her career in the lobby. This wasn't just infrastructure. This was ego architecture on a scale that would make pharaohs jealous. He offered her a custom-designed Boeing 787 Dreamliner private jet, painted in her signature colors, fully staffed and paid for, to take her anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. We are not talking about a little Gulfstream that celebrities lease for Instagram photos. We are talking about a wide-body, long-range aircraft capable of flying nonstop from New York to Sydney with bedrooms, showers, conference rooms, and a full-time crew on permanent standby. Silence. Absolute, deafening silence. The report goes on to claim that for a moment, nobody moved. The sheik, who has negotiated with world leaders and business tycoons, was reportedly visibly shaken. The narrative takes a turn for the dramatic here, with some sources claiming that in a moment of desperation, the sheik actually broke protocol. He stood up, and in a plea that shocked his own staff, he reportedly gestured wildly, almost kneeling, urging her to reconsider. "Name your price," he allegedly shouted. "Anything you want. The world is yours. 2 billion. 3 billion. Just tell me what it takes." Imagine that visual. One of the richest men in the world, a man who owns football clubs and palaces, a man whose family controls a sovereign wealth fund worth hundreds of billions of dollars, virtually begging a 20-year-old girl from Florida to take his money. And she just stood there. She didn't flinch. She didn't negotiate. She didn't say make it 2 billion and we will talk. She simply turned, gathered her team, and walked out of the room. She left the diamonds on the table. She left the blueprints for the Coco Arena on the desk. She walked away from $1.6 billion as if it were pocket change, as if it were monopoly money, as if it meant absolutely nothing. Why? That is the question exploding across social media right now. Why would anyone turn down that kind of money? Is she crazy? Is she ill-advised? Did her parents talk her out of it? Did she not understand what she was walking away from? The think pieces are already being written. Financial experts are on cable news calling it the most expensive mistake in sports history. Agents around the world are probably pulling their hair out, wondering how they would have convinced her differently. The answer lies in who Coco Gauff is. Since she burst onto the scene at 15, beating Venus Williams at Wimbledon in a moment that felt like a changing of the guard, Coco has been different. She was raised by Corey and Candy Gauff to value integrity over currency. Her parents, who sacrificed so much to give her opportunities, never raised her to chase paychecks. They raised her to chase greatness. She has always been an activist, a voice for the voiceless, a young woman who understands the power of her platform. After winning the US Open at 19, she used her victory speech not to thank sponsors, but to speak about social justice. Critics and fans alike are speculating that this rejection wasn't just about the money, it was about control. It was about freedom. It was about keeping her voice. Accepting a deal from the UAE comes with strings attached. It comes with expectations. It comes with silence. We have seen other tennis stars accept massive paydays to play in exhibitions in the Middle East, often facing backlash for sports washing, the practice of using sports to distract from human rights issues. Coco Gauff has always been vocal about equality, about justice, about Black Lives Matter, about women's rights, about using her platform to amplify marginalized voices. Perhaps she realized that you cannot be a voice for freedom while being on the payroll of a regime that doesn't align with your values. Perhaps she understood that the moment she cashed that check, every statement she made would be scrutinized. Every tweet would be questioned. Every stance would be viewed through the lens of who pays her bills. By saying no, she didn't just reject a check, she protected her voice. She told the world that her principles are worth more than $1.6 billion. And that is a power move that no billionaire can replicate. That is a statement that reverberates far beyond tennis courts. That is leadership. The reaction from the tennis world has been a mixture of shock and awe. Social media is on fire. Twitter, or X as it is now called, is trending with the hashtag Coco the Queen. Fans are calling her the integrity GOAT, the greatest of all time not just in tennis, but in moral courage. One viral tweet read, "Coco Gauff just did what Tiger Woods, Ronaldo, and Neymar couldn't do. She looked the devil in the eye and said I'm good." Another tweet said, "She just became the richest person in the world because she knows what money can't buy." The memes are incredible. There are side-by-side images of people selling their souls for far less, juxtaposed with Coco walking away from billions. The internet, for once, seems united in admiration. Of course, there are the skeptics. There are those in the comments section saying she made a mistake, that she should have taken the money and used it for charity, that she could have done more good with that wealth than by walking away from it. In the days and weeks to come, we are sure to hear more details. We might get an official statement from Gauff's team, carefully crafted by publicists and lawyers, or perhaps a sanitized press release from the Abu Dhabi investment group trying to save face and downplay the rejection. But the story is already out there. The legend is already written. The girl who kneeled to pray after winning the US Open refused to kneel for $1 billion. The girl who grew up idolizing the Williams sisters just proved she has the same steel spine that made them icons. The girl who cried tears of joy on the court just showed the world that her tears cannot be bought. This story also highlights a growing tension in the world of sports, the battle between tradition and new money. We have seen golf fractured by LIV, with legends like Phil Mickelson and Brooks Koepka taking massive paydays to jump ship, creating a civil war in the sport that still hasn't healed. We have seen football changed forever by the Saudi Pro League, luring aging stars with contracts that defy logic and economics. Tennis has been fighting to hold on to its soul, and today, Coco Gauff acted as its guardian. She proved that the prestige of a Grand Slam, the love of the fans, and the personal satisfaction of earning your way to the top still matters more than a direct deposit from a sovereign wealth fund. She proved that the sport still has heroes who play for more than money. And let's not forget the diamond prize. $150 million in diamonds. Just sitting there on the table. Glittering. Calling. Tempting. It feels like a scene from a movie. Gauff showed that she shines bright enough on her own. She doesn't need their diamonds. She is the diamond. Flawless. Unbreakable. Priceless. What makes this story even more compelling is the timing. We are living in an era where athletes are increasingly becoming billionaires, where the business of sports often overshadows the sports themselves. LeBron James is a billionaire. Michael Jordan is worth over $2 billion. These are men who built empires on and off the court. The path is clear. Play well, sign big deals, launch businesses, become a mogul. That is the playbook. That is the dream. And here comes Coco Gauff, ripping up the playbook and saying, "Not me. Not like this. Not if it costs me who I am." It is a rejection not just of money but of the entire system that tells athletes their value is tied to their willingness to be commodified. There is also speculation about what this means for future negotiations in tennis. If Coco can turn down $1.6 billion, what leverage does that give other top players? What does it say to tournament organizers, to sponsors, to the tennis federations? It says that the players hold more power than they realize. It says that authenticity has value. It says that fans can tell the difference between someone who is there because they love the game and someone who is there because they got paid to show up. And in the long run, authenticity wins. It builds legacies that last. It creates moments that people remember decades later. We also have to talk about the broader implications for women in sports. Female athletes have historically been paid far less than their male counterparts. The fight for equal prize money, for equal media coverage, for equal respect has been long and hard fought. Serena Williams paved the way. The U.S. women's national soccer team fought for equal pay. And now Coco Gauff is writing a new chapter. She is showing that women athletes don't just want equal pay, they want equal respect for their autonomy. They want to be seen as more than marketing opportunities. They want to be seen as whole human beings with values, with voices, with the right to say no. This rejection is feminist in the truest sense. It is a woman asserting her right to control her own narrative, her own career, her own life. As we wrap up this incredible story, I want you to think about what you would have done. Be honest. If someone put $1.6 billion in front of you, would you have the strength to say no? Would you have the clarity to see the strings attached? It is easy to say yes from the comfort of our couches, scrolling through our phones, imagining what we would do with that kind of money. We would pay off our debts. We would buy our parents a house. We would travel the world. We would never worry about money again. But to actually be in that room, to see that contract, to feel the pressure, to know that one signature changes everything, and still say no? That takes a special kind of human being. That takes courage that most of us will never have to summon. Coco Gauff has always been special. We knew it when she was 15, stepping onto center court at Wimbledon with beads in her hair and fire in her eyes. We knew it when she won the US Open, crying tears of joy and disbelief, overwhelmed by the moment but never overwhelmed by the pressure. But today, she didn't just win a match. She won a war for the soul of sports. She reminded us that some things, dignity, freedom, integrity, authenticity, are truly priceless. She reminded us that not everything is for sale. She reminded us that the best things in life, love, respect, legacy, cannot be bought, they must be earned. The Coco Arena will likely never be built, at least not in Abu Dhabi. The private jet will be sold to someone else, probably some tech billionaire or oil tycoon who will fly it twice a year and post about it on Instagram. The diamonds will go back into a vault somewhere, waiting for the next person the sheik wants to impress. But the story of this rejection? That will last forever. That is the real legacy. That is the monument that will never crumble. Decades from now, when Coco Gauff retires and they talk about her career, this moment will be part of the legend. They will say, she was the one who said no. She was the one who walked away. She was the one who reminded us what it means to be free. We will continue to track this story as it develops. If the sheik comes back with a bigger offer, 2 billion, 3 billion, 10 billion, we will be the first to tell you. But something tells me the answer will remain the same. Because as Coco Gauff reportedly said in those 20 stunning seconds, it is not about the money. And if it is not about the money, then no amount of money will ever be enough to change her mind. What do you think, Chatterbox fam? Did Coco make the right call, or is she walking away from the opportunity of a lifetime? Was the sheik's offer too good to refuse, or was it a golden trap designed to control her? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do not hold back. Tell me if you think she is crazy, or if you think she is the smartest person in sports right now. Would you have signed? Would you have walked away? What would it take for you to sell your principles? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the wildest story in sports, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more content like this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on the tea. We are posting daily updates on this story and so much more. We have got insider information coming in. We have got reactions from other athletes. We have got analysis from sports business experts. And we are going to keep you in the loop every step of the way. This is Chatterbox, signing off. Stay curious, stay loud, and remember, your integrity is not for sale.